My brother recently traveled from Frankfurt, Germany to visit us here in Wisconsin, and what should have been a fairly simple trip turned to quite the travel nightmare. His ticket was purchased through a third party, and they booked him on United Airlines from Frankfurt to Chicago with a connecting flight from Chicago to Eau Claire. The problem was he had less than 2 hours between those flights. Now, if you've ever flown internationally into Chicago Air, you probably already know why I was concerned. He had to get off the plane, go through international arrival process and customs, and then get all the way to his connecting flight. I was worried enough about that connection before he ever left Germany. I actually called United Airlines and asked them about it. I was told he shouldn't have a problem making his connecting flight. Well, he did. Gerhard has problems with his knees, so he had requested assistance at O'Hare. Unfortunately, the assistance he requested never came, so he ended up having to walk. He stood in line for what seemed like forever, and by the time he finally got through, he knew he was going to have a hard time making that flight. He found a United employee and asked if they could please call the gate and let them know that he was there and that he was on his way. But by the time he finally made it to the gate, boarding had already ended and they wouldn't let him on the plane. Now this is where I have to give United some credit. The United employee who helped Gerhard after he missed his flight was really nice. He immediately started working with him to find another way to get him here. Thankfully, Gerhard and I were on the phone at the time, so I was actually able to talk to the United employee myself. They were looking at getting Gerhard onto another flight to Eau Claire or possibly another airport, and I asked him, is there any way you can get him to Crosse? Because Crosse is actually where we live. Eau Claire was just where his original ticket was taking him. And he did. He rebooked Gerhard onto an American Airlines flight from Chicago directly to Crosse. So we're extremely happy with how that particular United employee handled the situation. He listened to us, worked with us, and found a solution that fits into Gerhard's original itinerary. Unfortunately, United managed to reroute Gerhard, but not his suitcase. His suitcase continued on to Eau Claire, and that's where we ran into another problem. The suitcase sat in Eau Claire for about 2 days. On the second day, we actually called because we were willing to drive to Eau Claire ourselves to pick it up. But the person we spoke with on the phone told us the system showed that the suitcase was in the process of being picked up, so we couldn't go get it. It was eventually shipped from Eau Claire to our house with FedEx. That took approximately another 2 days. So Gerhard made it to Crosse, and his suitcase took about 4 more days to make it to our house. So what do I think of our experience with United Airlines? Well, it's mixed. I don't blame United for the original itinerary because Gerhard bought that ticket through a third party. But I was disappointed that when I called United ahead of time with concerns about that very short international connection in Chicago, I was told that he shouldn't have a problem making it. I was also disappointed that when Gerhard was rerouted to Crosse, his luggage wasn't rerouted with him. On the other hand, the United employee who helped him after he missed his connection was wonderful. He didn't just brush Gerhard off. He worked with us, listened to what we needed, and found a way to get him directly to Crosse. And I think it's important when you're reviewing a company to mention the good experiences along with the bad ones. As for the airport assistants that never showed up, the American Airlines flight and the adventure of getting that suitcase from Eau Claire to our house, those are stories for another video. If you'd like to see how this entire travel nightmare unfolded, you can watch Gerhard's nightmare journey, missed flights, missing luggage, and more next.